think it's a useful, beneficial day? You think it's a useful, beneficial institution because it helps you become more religious and understand things and worship God and get together and listen to a sermon and things. So, half the day is off for you. All these things are good. And Jummah is a very useful, beneficial institution. Do you believe in that? Yeah. The same is exactly the position of Sabbath with the Jews. Comparatively, they find themselves in the same relationship to Sabbath as we find ourselves in relationship to Jummah. So no wise, because you already understand. You understand now? You understand Sabbath or not? You're all right. Good. Yes, please. Now the father, please.
As Islamic history records in great detail the incident when Hazrat Jibreel revealed himself to Hazrat Muhammad for the first time and bestowed upon him the prophethood from God Almighty. Keeping that in mind, may I request you to please relate to us. Did we have any intimation from God before becoming Khalifa that you are being prepared for his high office? B. What went through your heart and mind in Masjid Mubarak when in the instant God bestowed Khilafat upon you?
The second part of your question has already been answered by me during my first address. Immediately after that, when I addressed the people, what possessed me at that moment, I explained myself. That was not a prepared speech or lecture or anything. That is exactly how I felt. It was not a sentimental moment at all then. It was a moment of grave responsibility and extreme serious-mindedness. So whatever came to me at that moment, I explained. You know, if a man should prepare a speech for such occasions, he should be very sentimental and do this and that. This is all artificial and superficial. In such a grave moment, what comes to one's mind is just the responsibility, that's all. Every other thought just disappears. All things like showing a sort of humility and everything, they don't mean anything anymore. Just the thought of that responsibility, and what comes foremost is what one discusses at the moment. So there the first thought was that of establishment of adl, and justice is to be established in every regard. And that was what possessed me at that moment. And from that I understood that every other blessing is born out of a state of justice. And the whole subject which I was to discuss in so many speeches in Jalsa Salana later on was flashed into my mind. That nothing would be right, nothing would be good unless adl is established, because ihsan and ita'azul qurba are the later stages which are based on the ground of adl. They can't exist separately or hang high in the air. So that was what I said. And there was, it just came like this, and it possessed my whole being. And as far as the first question is concerned, that I also explained, the resemblance is not correct. I mean, the parallel which you are seeking is not right. The phenomenon of prophethood is a different phenomenon altogether from that of Khilafat, in the sense that Khalifa is the deputy of the Prophet, an institution which has already been established. And again, the inference you have drawn is also wrong, because Hadhrat Rasul Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam was not told before he was made a prophet that we are going to make you a prophet. It may have happened, but we don't find any reference in the Holy Quran or tradition. The incident you are referring to was the incident when he was made a prophet. So he was told of his prophethood when he was told to work as a prophet. Though as far as potential is concerned, as far as his latent qualities are concerned, he was prophet even before he was born, even before Adam was born. That is, as a plan of God, as the qualities inherent in the whole scheme of things. He was the prophet of God. So looking at different angles, from different angles, the answer would be different. So as far as his first conscious knowledge, our responsibility was concerned, he was told that at that moment in Ghar Hira, as you have just mentioned. And he was not told previously. But signs appeared which he would not interpret out of humility or out of some other reasons. He never thought himself to be a prophet. But signs did appear right from childhood, when his chest was opened and his heart was washed and put back. That is a kashf, a very high order that was shown to him. That was a very positive sign of his future prophethood. But he would not interpret it to be like that. Similarly, I related a dream of mine which was a sign, of course, very clear, but which I would interpret otherwise. And some other dreams were also indicating to that, but it was impossible for me to translate it, to interpret those dreams as what was going to happen. And so in no sense I told that dream to Hazrat Khalifatul Masih Salis, one of those dreams, and asked for his interpretation, and he kept quiet. He must have understood, otherwise he should have interpreted it immediately. He just smiled and kept quiet. The dream was that I was giving the dars of Surah Falaq in Masjid Mubarak, and on the right side was sitting Hazrat Khalifatul Masih Salis, but his personality kept on changing rapidly, like electronic make and break, into Hazrat Muslim Maud. And in flashes they came and went. There was Mirza Nasir Ahmed and Mirza Mahmud Ahmed, like that, And they were looking at me with such benign expressions on their face, and nodding approvingly of how I explained the Holy Quran to the gathering there. I felt extremely embarrassed and awkward that in presence of one Khalifa, not only one Khalifa, but a Khalifa who is taking form of a Muslim Maud alternately, I am explaining things, and I felt very, 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 worried whether I will be right or wrong. So I kept looking askance at them, or one person as I saw him, changing into another. So whether I call it them or one, I don't know. But anyway, you know what I mean. So when I looked at him or at them, I was so satisfied at the expression of content and the benign smile that was appearing on the faces of both these changing personalities. So when I related this dream to Hazrat Khalifatul Masih Salis, he just smiles and slightly turned his face in one direction, perhaps to hide his expression, whatever it was, and did not answer. So because he did not choose to answer, I did not repeat. But later on,